What was that?
It's Arya A, not the other one.
Aria A? Okay, let me double check that too.
It's Arya.
Okay, so we have, okay, wait, sorry, I have a split screen, so this is a little bit, okay. Ashok Kumar, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so we'll just start then. I don't know if the other student will be here, but yeah, that's okay. We'll just get through this here. Okay, so yeah, whenever you're ready, feel free to play your piece since it's just you. I mean, you can introduce yourself if you want, but yeah.
Okay. Uh, yeah, I'm going to be playing the harp. Well, sorry. Oh yeah, I forgot. It's only the first two lines. Can I restart?
Oh, okay, you're just doing the first half?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. We can just end it there, unless you wanted to play it again, but yeah, you played through those first two lines pretty well. Seems like you know it well enough.
Yeah, but
Yeah, very nice.
I sometimes go like from not looking at the keys. Like I press two notes at the same time.
Like playing it sort of staccato, like a short note.
No, like like the gap between the white keys. Sometimes I instead of going to one of those keys, I'll go in the middle and then
Mm.
do like a chord.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like your hand is kind of slipping, or one of your fingers is slipping and hitting one of those notes. So something that can help with that, I'm not sure if your teacher has gone over it with you, but these are just broken chords, right? All of these are, where did my mouse go? Yeah, so all of these are broken chords, and when you have your five finger position, right, you want to have a nice like the curved fingers, sort of like you're holding a tennis ball or something. A good way to get this shape, if you're not sure how to do it, is just put your hands on your knees. You get pretty much the same shape. And then if you put that on the piano and you have curled fingers like that, it should help you just have a bit of more of a sturdy place on the keys with your fingers. But yeah, let's go ahead and look at a couple movements that happen in your piece that you might have gone over with your professor already. And
Yeah,
if not, or we can review them, right?
there's like
So
a
let's
hundred.
see.
There's like 100 chefs in it.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of things going on in this piece here.
Okay.
But the nice thing is it's usually happening in both hands to some capacity, right? So actually want to ask, what five finger position does the piece start in with both hands?
Like so, like do you mean like it starts on A and it ends on like E?
Yeah. So that bottom note, right? So you said A, that's going to be the, I guess, the name, right, of your five finger position. So you're going to be in an A five finger position on both hands, right? They're not super far apart or anything, just within an octave of each other. So that's the first thing that's happening, right? A five finger position. And then the first movement, right, that happens is going to be in the left hand. So can you tell me what happens between I guess like this, right? This to this.
Oh, wait. Sorry.
So something happening with
Oh,
this
yeah, it's
one finger.
stretching.
Exactly. So the stretch is happening right there by one step, right?
Yeah.
If the stretch is bigger than a step, right, we'll still draw the stretch like that. Um,
Oh,
yeah, so I don't think it happens anywhere in your piece that you have like a double or a triple stretch or anything.
no. I, I've
And
never.
also right here, right? There's a stretch, the third finger.
I've Yeah, I've never done a double stretch. The only time I have done it is when my substitute piano teacher accidentally swapped mine and my sister's and my piece.
Oh, nice. So you've done it like one time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it just requires a little bit more
Yeah.
stretching. But for example, when you do, have you ever played an octave, like a G in the thumb and then a higher G in
Yeah.
the pinky?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so that would be a triple stretch, for example. Because if you start in a G position, right, you have G, A, B, C, D. So then your pinky, if it stretches once, gets to E, twice, gets to F, three times, gets to G. So a triple stretch is the same thing as if you played an octave. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's like a little bit outside of the piece, but that's okay. Um,
You
cool.
want
Let's talk about another movement. So after these first two measures, right, we are changing our bottom note here. So what do you think, I guess to clarify, to make it clear for this question, how would you get from this hand position to this hand position?
uh just shift down one note.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Very good. So that is exactly what we do. Let me go ahead and just, I like to use the little arrow tool since it's just easier to draw. Um, yeah, we're just gonna shift both hands by one step, like you said. Um, and then we have some stretches happening here. So we kind of already touched on stretches. So I wanted to get to over here and talk about this sharp, okay? So there's two things happening here. After we shift, shift, and then we shift again, right? Over here, we could call this a poly movement. Have you ever learned about poly movements?
I have never heard of that word.
Okay, no worries. We'll talk about it right now. So a poly movement is when there's two things going on simultaneously. So I would consider this a poly movement because we have to shift, right? We're shifting our both hands down by step while over here we're going to have now a shift forward, right? Are you familiar with the shift forward like this?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so whenever we have a poly movement, we could write it in like this. I feel like it might not be, yeah, this might not be the best, um, I
So
guess,
like moving,
definition of a poly movement
so
since
like
that first
moving,
note is not being adjusted, not being shifted up.
so like moving up and
Yeah,
like
so
moving
it's like your
twice.
left hand, right? You shift down by step, and then your third finger is going to shift forward pretty
So
much simultaneously.
that sounds like a like just going up and doing a stretch.
You could think of it as a stretch, but the only thing with stretches, you're moving from one white note to another white note,
Oh,
or for example, let's say you are stretching and you have to get a sharp. So that could be also a poly movement, right? Like if let me give you an example with I guess over here. So there's a stretch happening right here for the thumb, right? Let's say this was a C sharp, right? So this would now become a poly movement where we have to do a stretch first. It's kind of hard to draw. Ah, let me try one more time. If not, I'll just move on. Yeah, okay, good enough. So stretch plus shift up, shift forward, sorry, shift forward. Right. So that is a perfect example of a poly movement. Does that make sense?
okay.
You're stretching and shifting up to that C sharp.
Okay.
That, yeah, this is not actually happening in the piece, but this is just to show you what a poly movement would look like. So cool. We explored a little bit of that. Um, yeah, since it's just us today, we're just talking about your piece here. We can leave it at that unless you have any questions or anything you wanted to look at your piece
No,
further. But
there's one more thing that I want to hear like your opinion about. Do you think that my posture was like good? Because in every single class I'm working on my posture. I have like a tightness in my neck and like all the way down to my back.
oh
And
no. Huh.
yeah,
So in your neck all the way down to your back.
yeah,
So
that's
I
why.
wasn't really unfortunately looking too much, but I can look up. I know we're doing a live stream, so let me see if I can pull it up so I can notice that.
Like
Um,
that's why I'm sitting on a pillow right now.
yeah, I noticed that. Um, here we go. What is the mhm. Yeah, to me, I mean, I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary, but I will just go here. Okay, so okay, yeah, I can see that the pillow's definitely helping you sit up a little bit taller. One of my students was sort of having a similar issue here where you don't want your elbows to dip too low or anything. You want them to be about the same like height
Yeah.
as your piano keys.
My
Um,
teacher, or my, yeah, my teacher is like constantly telling me like to relax my shoulders and keep my wrists up and
mhm. Yeah, that's always good to just make sure like you don't have any tightness in your shoulders. Sometimes like, you can do a couple shoulder rolls or something just to make sure you're completely relaxed. And then just like your teacher saying, right, you want to put your hands on the piano, make sure your wrists are nice and loose. Enough to have a bounce. If you need to maybe have some louder dynamics or something, or
yeah, and
staccato, things like that.
also like not like arching my back.
Yeah, the only thing I guess that I could comment on is I can see that because you're sitting on a pillow, so you probably have to sit back a little bit. Um, it's normally better, or I should say recommended to sit actually more forward on the chair, so that way your
Yeah,
knees are just about at the tip of where the piano starts, right? So I'm noticing your knees are kind of far, right? So if you could, yeah, see you're a little bit far right now. If it's possible, like I'd scoot up or like move the chair a little bit, maybe like half a foot forward, and then yeah, so see if you can move your chair a little bit more forward.
Yeah, my teacher said for me to like move the chair a little bit, and then she has to move me, and then yeah.
Yeah, because see, right now I can see that you're sitting pretty far back on your chair, on your bench or whatever you're sitting on. Um, so if you sit a little bit more like, yeah, off the chair like that, I think that could help bring you a little bit like in a better position to play. It's just that, yeah, the elbow thing, right? You don't want to have it dip too low. Um, yeah, so just relax your shoulders. Yeah, does that feel okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, you seem at a pretty good distance right now. You could even back up a tiny bit, but yeah, this is pretty good. Yeah, so again, the things to look out for is the elbows about the same height as your keys, your knees about right underneath where the piano is, right? Like where the
Yeah.
piano edge is.
If my
Um
elbow is like same distance as the keys, then I
yeah,
have to
it's
like
pretty right. So that means you might need to maybe get like a higher chair, but
yeah, the
yeah, that's
same
something you guys
distance.
can definitely figure out over the course of, maybe a couple lessons or months even. So it takes a little bit of time to figure out what works best. But yeah, this looks pretty good right now. So just keep an eye out for if you have like any pain, like you were saying. Definitely make some adjustments. But other than that, I mean, yeah, you played really well. So good work so far on your song. And then I'm sure, I mean, maybe I'll see you next time when you finish the entire song. But yeah, do you have any other questions?
No.
Cool, sounds good. All right, Aria, have a great rest of your day. See you next time.